Good morning everyone, let's get into today's analysis. We are on the daily chart. We have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. And what's the daily chart showing us? Well, in my opinion on EU, I don't have much of a read from the recent day's price action. However, as I've been saying, we have our bearish leg, we're in a discount. And after making this lower high up here, we're yet to continue to go make a lower low or continue any significant bearish move since Monday. So we may be finding some sort of support here and be due that further pullback into a premium. But either way, with these last couple of weeks price action, nothing's really moved significantly in terms of a daily analysis anyway. DXY, however, as I mentioned, does look still like it might be bearish, might be looking for more of that bearish pullback, which kind of adds to the analysis after we actually closed below this internal low here, made that lower low, right, maybe making a lower high here and showing some sort of bearish momentum to head lower to a discount, possibly down towards here. All right, so that's what I'm reading from the daily. So far today, after yesterday's doji, where we took sell side and buy side liquidity from the previous day, we have now taken previous daily high for today's buy side liquidity and previous daily low on DXY for sell side liquidity. So we may get some bearish morning move from using that liquidity. Could be temporary, could be long term. We'll see how that goes. We'll have to see the lower time frame to get a look at the structure and what this means. So in saying that, let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's see what that looks like. Now I'll start off on DXY just because I do believe it kind of looks fairly bearish. We took that sell side liquidity, we came up, but we're kind of spiking up into buy side liquidity here. We look to have met some sort of resistance. Just looking at how this price action is going, you can see loads of candles formed at this high here. So possibly showing resistance, and it could look to go on to make that lower low after we already broke below these internal lows here. Though if we go over to EU, what we can see here now is as we had pulled back up into this premium of this bearish leg, we broke down, found some support here, right, where there's an imbalance in a POI, sell side liquidity, and pulled back now to this 4 hour order block imbalance. We've taken buy side liquidity from previous daily high. I do believe we may pull back further just because we do like to close imbalances usually and come up to the last candle. However, yes, it's a resistance point, and now the 4 hour may continue to just go on bearish, which means DXY could go on to be bullish. So bit of conflict in that I do believe DXY kind of does look bearish. So we do have to see what happens with this POI here. I would be glad to look for sales from this POI if we do break down on a lower time frame. As I mentioned, after rejecting this zone here, we've broken down internally, right, creating a bearish leg. We're pulling back to the premium of that where we have this POI. So if we reject this and break down on the lower time frames, then that's fine, right? Previous daily high may cause some sort of move here, but I think there is always the chance of us pulling back further into this POI here. Let's go down to the hourly. So on this 1 hour chart now, you can see we are making this sort of corrective pullback with our high highs, high lows, high highs, right? High low, high high, possibly going up into our 1 hour and 4 hour POI in the premium of that bearish leg, which may possibly form some resistance for us. Now looking at these internal legs here where we're making these high highs and possible high lows, as I've mentioned, we've taken buy side and sell side liquidity today, right, from below all of these lows here on DXY and above this previous daily high as well on EU. So if it does give us a bearish move first before pulling back deeper into this, if we're going to pull back deeper into this, maybe we do come down and make our way into this 1 hour order block here as support first, and then into this 4 hour and 1 hour POI. Now those are some possibilities. There's a lot to think about because we do keep being bounced between high time frame order blocks and POIs, so maybe a bit more confusing to keep up with. But in terms of day trading, intraday moves, right, buy side liquidity taken above these highs, if we do break down, we can probably short into this area here. This will be a nice M15 lower time frame trend line as well being made here, which could be as an inducement for this zone here. Okay, so once we get into this zone, I'd probably stop selling, but I look for sells from this zone here, or maybe even from this previous daily high if it's going to break down first before a deeper pullback. We have the same high time frame POI here on DXY as well, just to point that out, right? So we have the same 1 hour order blocks, 4 hour order block there, which price is just digging into the same way it is here. So we do still have possible support for that long bias on DXY and short bias on EU. It's a lot more clearer here on the 1 hour. We have taken that sell side liquidity and may get that minor pullback up into that 1 hour POI, which is also present on DXY. So I hope that's not too confusing. Any questions, just let me know. As I mentioned in previous video, price action may just be tricky during this week here, first week of the month, and it's December. So my bias for today is short-term sales, maybe down to this area. Possibly look for longs from this area here if we make it down there. If we sell from here, the negative would be we have POI above us. Price could just keep going. So those are things to just bear in mind here while we're there. But I think things look good for those short-term moves as long as the lower time frame is on side. So let's go down to the M15. Let's see what a trade for today may look like. So M15, we have our bullish M15 leg here, right? We obviously swept below these lows. You can see that on the hourly as well, and mitigated this zone here, taking that sell side liquidity. That gave us that boost in price, probably around news as well, of course. Closing above these highs, right? Coming into that sort of 4 hour zone. Now, overnight into the evening, price made this corrective price action here into Asia, continued corrective. Now we're into London. We've taken buy side liquidity above these highs. Price hasn't broken down at all yet. Like I said, we may continue higher, but this is a lovely trend line here, which leads us all the way down to a 1 hour POI draw on price if we do start to break down. So what would I want to see? Of course, I prefer from up here, if we get deep into this zone, just start creating some structures, right? Take some buy side liquidity, break down, then we get our pullbacks to go short. So I'm just going to draw that out just quickly, because this is obviously what I would prefer and what I'd be looking for in the long term. May not happen today or something, but I need some structure to form in here, and then we break down from there. If we break down from this previous daily high to head towards this, I would probably need us, we've taken buy side liquidity already, so I would need us to break down, say break down below these lows. May look better on the M5, but either way, break down below here, break a structure, then we pull back to our M15 order block. Let's say we're forming it here with these up candles, and then we can trade down towards that discount, towards this POI here. So break of structure below lows, M15 order block with imbalance left behind, stop loss above the highs, of course, aiming towards that discount, possible inducement from the corrective pullback around this area here. Buy side liquidity taken from previous daily high as well. So I think this would look good, right, with what's going on. We've got sell side liquidity as well on DXY, and of course we'd hope that DXY would be breaking structure, pulling back, and then heading towards its zone as well. So those are the possibilities that I see, looking for sales from this premium here. So that's everything on EU. Let's move on to GJ. So here on GJ, what's the daily chart showing us? Well, yesterday you can see we had quite a large bullish engulfing day, right, coming from this daily order block where we swept that previous daily low. On Tuesday as well, we got that bullish momentum coming into the market. Now we're into this imbalance and order block here, though admittedly that's probably in a discount of this daily leg. So I think there's still potential for a further pullback, of course, into say this zone here. That's a bit more long term, don't know how quickly price would move into the zone. So we may see a bit of resistance here because we have now come above some previous highs for buy side liquidity. I don't think we've taken a previous daily low, but we'll see that clearly on the lower time frame. So we've had a good reaction from this POI here, price moving bullish, maybe due a pullback, so we may be able to look for longs. So let's go down to the 4 hour, let's see what that shows us. So as I was saying yesterday as well, the 4 hour structure does look to have shifted. So I think we had a good bullish day, closed well above these highs, even above this high here, but we have a possible resistance coming into play in the future where this large imbalance and order block is. Come above these highs here, taking plenty of buy side liquidity, of course, and come into an imbalance. Only natural that this bullish momentum does die off a little bit here, okay, after taking so much buy side liquidity. So we've had some sort of pullback, right, come back into this 4 hour imbalance here as well, which looks to be holding price actually. So we could find some support here. We'll see what the hourly looks like. Of course, the discount would be more down towards this zone here. We'll see how far price is looking to pull back on the lower time frame probably, but this would be my main resistance zone here, especially after if we take this buy side liquidity above previous daily high and come into it. I think I'd look for longs if the lower time frame has some POIs or gives any indication of that, but we may be in a pullback phase, might be able to look for shorts as well. So let's go down to the hourly. Let's see if we can get any more of a clear bias for today. Cool, so the hourly I do like. It shows that bullish move again quite clearly, closing above these highs even on the hourly. So the hourly clearly broke structure as well after taking sell side liquidity and closing this daily imbalance. We're left behind an imbalance down here with order block. So I've noted that as it could be a possible draw on price now during this what looks to be a pullback here down towards a discount after taking out these buy side liquidity highs. I do see it as a pullback, right? We've had a lot of bullish momentum there. Okay, the switching structure is quite clear, but we're coming back down with this correctiveness, lower highs, lower lows. No sharp bearish momentums, say like these here when we was in that bearish trend. What I would say is now I would have a bias probably to look for shorts coming from this zone here down to this draw on price imbalance below, just because we can see that structure will be shifting on say the M15 as well. This is internal 1 hour price action, right, to this external bullish leg. Looking into today, you can see we broke down during Asia, left behind a 1 hour order block, which we've now pulled back to with some bullish momentum, of course, during London, but we may be rejecting it. So we've got half an hour left of this hourly candle. We've mitigated this imbalance in POI. So that may be the resistance, that internal resistance to pull back to this zone here, right? Or at least this low here as a weak low. So draw on price above, which I believe we'll eventually make our way up to. But for the time being with this structure, we may be making our way down to this low here with this POI. So I could look for buys from here, but for the moment, for today, I'll probably be looking for shorts down into this zone. So I hope that's clear. So let's go down to the M15. Let's see what a trade for today may look like. Right, now onto the M15, that bearish order flow is now clear. Right, into the Asia session, we pulled up, mitigated M15 order block, created a little small range here, and then broke down again. Right, so clear structural lower low, pulled back now up into this 1 hour POI, M15 order block, imbalance there, which I'm just waiting for price to reject. We came back nicely, creating structure on the way as well. So you may get a quicker entry on the M5. I'm just going to draw this out on the M15 if this is to play out. So if we reject this zone here, I would go with a continuation play where we break below this low, for example. I don't know if we're going to create another structure here, but let's say we don't break below this low, pull back to M15 order block, which we could be leaving behind here now with imbalance, okay, from the momentum of this zone here. Or if we sweep this high, that would be great as well. I do like to have a liquidity sweep on side before we break down, and then we can trade down towards this discount zone here. So break of structure around here, coming from all that momentum, leaving behind an order block with imbalance possibly somewhere around this zone here, and then we have possible inducement from a corrective pullback, and we set our order stop loss just above the high, wherever that may be. Maybe it's up there if we sweep the high, to trade down towards that discount zone there. So that's the sort of thing I would look like. Like I said, if we come up and sweep this high here and then break down and reject it, I'll be fine with that too, with that buy side liquidity. Right, so we'd still have that bearish leg as long as it's a nice high test candle. So that's what I'm seeing on GJ shorts for this morning. I hope that's clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.